Hello everyone, Eric Pereira here, and those that don't know me, I've sold millions of dollars worth of products on Amazon and have helped other people do the same. In this video, we're going to be going over the dreaded Section 3 deactivation that Amazon sends out and what you need to do before the call, what they ask you during the call, as well as what you need after the call. So this is going to be an in-depth video. We're going to go from everything that they cover essentially. So stay tuned because it's a lot of detail, and I want you guys to, if you ever receive a Section 3, be able to go through this video and understand what you need before, during, and after the call so you have the best chance of succeeding. So I hope you guys really enjoy this video, as well as if you do end up also wanting a recording of the actual call that was taking place. Well, I can't actually show you that, as you're technically not supposed to record it. If you do join the free community in the description, you could just ask me and I can send you over that. So if you want to watch that and get an actual understanding of what they actually ask from during the call, I can share that with you. However, in this video, we're going to be going over all the questions that they ask, what you need beforehand, and how to have the best chance of success when it comes to going through these video identifications and submitting any necessary documents. So I hope you guys, if you ever have to face this issue, are well prepared and this video helps. And if you do ultimately enjoy this video, I would really appreciate a like. And if you want to subscribe for more content, I would appreciate it. And I'll get right into it. All right, so you've received the Section 3 notification from Amazon. They usually would send it through your email, and it would look something like this. Hello, your account is currently under review as per Section 3 of the Amazon Service Business Resolution. During the review, FBA shipment creation ability will be disabled and your funds will be withheld in accordance with their policy. Why did this happen? We've taken the measure because we believe that your account or a related account may have been used to engage in deceptive or illegal activities that harm customers and our store, such as the sale of counterfeit inventory, thereby infringing intellectual property rights. For more information, and it just goes on here, how you can verify the identification, you're gonna click this link essentially, and you're going to schedule a call. One thing I do want to make note of when you do schedule a call is the call is usually very early in the morning. So I'm in the East Coast, and I believe the call times were around 4 a.m. to the latest, depending on the day, was like 9 a.m. Eastern time. So just make note of that. The times really aren't that good because you're having to do a call with someone usually somewhere in probably Asia, and they're basically just going to copy down your information that you share during this, which we'll cover shortly. So you're going to need a bunch of stuff. I'll get into all this. They basically put it in the email. So this is basically what it says. It'll have the product and the ASIN in question for you, and you're just going to see all that. You're going to have to gather up all this information. I'll get into it all in more depth in just a moment. All right, so here, before the verification call, what you are going to need is Amazon lets you submit 4 documents usually. So, I mean, obviously, going back to this, they ask for like more stuff. Like, I mean, like there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Some like the supply chain ones, you're gonna have to combine the documents into like one document because they only let you put one document when you submit it. So you're going to need a government ID that includes your full name, date of birth, ID number, expiration date, signature, and the country where you are a citizen. So essentially you're going to have that. Usually it's either going to be a license or a passport. I will say if you have both, it's good to have both ready for the call. When this was originally submitted, only the license was submitted. However, maybe you could submit both documents, assuming the addresses match up on when you submit it to Amazon. That's what I would recommend, just so that they have 2 forms. Because if you're just submitting the one form, I know during the call they did have to ask about both documents. So just know that. And if you don't have a passport, you can just be like, I only have one form of identification. And so submit whatever government issued identification you have. submit that. And if you need need a second one, just, I don't know exactly what an alternative form would be. However, if you have some other documents, maybe like a utility bill or something, just in case, just prepared, right? It's always good to be safe versus sorry. But I'll go in depth into exactly all they ask and all that stuff in just a moment. All right, so you're going to need either your bank or credit card statement. Essentially, this is going to be the bank credit card statement showing the ASIN, so the Amazon product that is in question. So that would be whatever product is in question is going to be at the bottom of that first email that I showed you guys. So just look for that. You're going to, if it's multiple products, you're going to need to show multiple statements. So it's like if you place, and also based on the quantity that they request. So if you have a larger quantity, you're going to have to show statements or bank, either credit card statements or bank statements for the total unit amount that they request. So just know that, because otherwise you don't want to show less than they request. And that should include your name or the business name, your residential address or the business address, the issuing bank name, and just basically any information about the transaction related to the product in question. All right, so number 3, the business registration document. So if you did sign up as a business, you would, and that's how you're operating your business on Amazon, then you would want to submit this information, which would just basically be the EIN number, IRS document that the IRS provides. So it should say the name of the business owner as well as the business name, any business information. It'll just say like the business address. Obviously, it's going to say the date of incorporation. Some of the stuff it might not say exactly. However, the main thing is it should be the EIN document showing the actual business, and it should say like the start date and all that information. Main information is just that it's like the business name, business address, that you should also match up with the business information on Amazon. Okay, the next thing is the supply chain document. This is super important now because they really want you to show as much information as possible that you are selling a legitimate product. Amazon, ever since some issues that happened with some stolen goods, has been real strict with the supply chain documents, and a lot of people are getting affected by this. So this is why also, if you are buying from like suppliers that are using Telegram groups or WhatsApp chats only, you really, honestly, you should not even be buying from them in the first place, because they can't supply you the necessary documentation that you are going to need. If you're doing like online arbitrage or like retail arbitrage, you want to be supplying any sort of receipts, order confirmations, tracking, all that stuff, right? And it should all add up to the item. It should mention the product name, the quantities that you order, where you're sourcing the product from. If you're sourcing from multiple different websites or multiple different suppliers, put them all together. The supplier's phone numbers. If you have invoices, you should put that. So obviously, what I recommend, say you're doing like online arbitrage, you want to put like the order confirmation document, order shipping information, like if there's tracking numbers, the invoice. If you don't have an invoice, try to request that from your suppliers as well. Just send them over an email being like, hey, maybe I just need this information for tax purposes, right? You don't need to mention that you're selling the product on Amazon when you go into your supplier. Just be like, hey, I have to do taxes or something. Make up some excuse, right? It doesn't matter. And I think that the tax excuse is probably the best excuse, if you're just saying, oh, I need this as a business deduction or something, right? Usually someone at the company will be able to create some invoice or get some documentation for you so they can supply you with that information. And ideally, this information obviously has like the supplier's phone number, supplier's address, their website. Ultimately, all these documents together should include as much information, so it makes it as easy as possible for Amazon to know, okay, this person is actually selling a legitimate product. They are good to go, right? If you're buying something and they can't track where these products are coming from, you're going to be in a tough situation when it comes to dealing with this Section 3. So I do want to also say, excuse me, that since they allow 4 documents, you want to combine all the supply chain documents. So yeah, as I said, invoices, receipts, proof of delivery, if you have that, into a single PDF. You can use tools like PDF Combiner, or if you're scanning the documents, I use Cam Scanner, or you can use some other similar tool to scan the documents together. As well as, okay, any additional documents that you may need. Yeah, if you have proof of delivery, bill of lading, that's the BOL, any import or export documentation. It really depends on how you are sourcing your product that is in question, okay? If there's customs clearance forms, so if you're getting products outside from the US. Also, if you have a brand authorization letter, that is super useful because that is one of the questions they ask during the verification call. If you don't, most people probably don't. However, if you do, that's super useful because it just ultimately shows, okay, the brand actually authorized you to sell the product. And can be very helpful. And yeah, as I said, order confirmation and shipping fulfillment updates for the ASIN. Anything else you need? Okay, we discussed that. Obviously, all documents should be very clear. If you're uploading a document and it's not like it's hard to read, try to re-upload it. Use a different printer if you're printing it out, whatever it may be, because like ultimately your account's on the line and you really only get like one verification call. If you need, I mean, you can always go try to contact the executive team for Amazon. If that's something you guys need access to, is the executive team emails. Join my free community in the description. I can give you access to the executive team emails as well, just so you guys, if you need that as well. So, and just yeah, make sure that obviously all documents are up to date and nothing is cropped out and cut out. So the real part, that's all before the call, okay? So you're gonna submit that. Then you're going to schedule the call. As I said, it's going to be usually between like 4 to 9 a.m. Eastern time is when, like, what time based on my time zone. If you're in a different location, it's obviously could be earlier or whatever. All right, excuse me. So next, let's get into the verification call. So, excuse me. They ask a lot of questions. So this is why you really want to be prepared. I would go through what I'm going to go over like in this section right here. Take notes, okay? Because you want to have all this information ready to go to make your life as easy as possible when it comes to doing the call. Because, I mean, obviously, you're gonna have to do this bright early in the morning. You're waking up and you're like, okay, I don't really like, you're doing it at such an off time. Obviously, you may be nervous, you may be stressed, whatever. And if you can have all this stuff ready to go before the call, it's going to make your life so much easier. And that's what I'm hoping this video can ultimately do, is just make you guys' life easier, right? And ultimately, hopefully, by having this information ahead of time, it'll help you with the greatest chance of having your account back reinstated. And then you guys can let me know in the comments if you got your accounts back and reinstated. I really hope this helps, okay? So the identification at the very start, they're going to basically ask you about your identity. They also want to make sure that the room is private. So when it comes to identity, they're going to have you show your ID or password or both, right? So just make sure you have your license and passport ready to go. This is all stuff you should, I should have mentioned, all your documents that you submit, you should have printed out and ready to go for when your call is, right? Because you're going to want it all easy, accessible for the call, all right? And if, obviously, yeah, you want to have your license and passport ready to go. If you only have one, just mention whichever one you only have. Just be like, hey, I only have one form of identification. Maybe have like a utility bill or something in case if they need to do some additional verification. However, you're going to need at least one form of identification. And then they're just going to verify your name of the person doing the interview. When it comes to doing the meeting, if they're going to ask you how many people are attending the meeting, is it just you or is it going to be other people? And if it's more than just you, you must have documentation showing their role in the company. And it could be like really anything. I don't know how, depending on what the additional person is attending the call. Obviously, for this example, it was just the person on the call. However, if you do have more than one person, more than just like the owner attending the call, maybe of like an operator or like someone high up or whatever it may be, just show whatever you can, maybe a pay stub or something, just have that in case, right? Like I don't know exactly the documentation that you need to show. However, just have something ready to go in case, right? It's better to have something versus not, right? Like, because obviously each rep that's doing the call may ask slightly different questions. This is giving you a good overview of all the questions that they require. However, depending on how you answer the questions, some might have more questions based on that. So I will get into several things that you guys need to know, okay? Also, they'll ask you, like, do you need any assistance from other people? Basically, going off of that, if they're not in the room, are you, as well as, are you alone in the room? Like, if they hear someone else in the room, they're going to be like, who's the other person? What's their role? Whatever, like, if it's just right at the beginning, it was just, you could just make up things, and they hear something, oh, you just be like, oh, and they're not involved, just be like, oh, someone was helping me set up. I'm not good with computers or whatever, and they've left or something. But ideally, they want to make sure that the room is just whoever is on the call that they mentioned at the beginning. If it's the owner, if it's the operator, if it's more than one people, all that information is known to them ahead of time, and you're not supposed to record the call or anything at all. Okay, so just know that. All right, so account ownership and responsibility. Now, they're going to ask you, can you please tell me who opened this account? So if it's not you that opened the account, you should have some sort of documentation in case, being like how you actually obtained ownership of the account, how you manage it, like if you bought the business or whatever it may be, right? That's all going to be like on a case-by-case basis. So just know whoever opened the account. If you're the one that opened the account, you can just say, yes, that's me, I opened the account. If it's someone else, just have whatever documents however you like whoever opened the account, so maybe transfer documents you require to the business, whatever, something along those lines, just in case they require it. The main thing is, during the call, obviously they can't see any other additional documents, so besides if you're just showing like the license or whatever to the screen. The main thing though is you're going to submit documents afterwards, all right? So just in case you want to have that good to go when you submit all the documents. All right, the next part is, what's your responsibility regarding this Amazon selling account? Like, are you the owner? Are you the operator? What's your role? Essentially, they're just trying to get an idea of like, what do you actually do for the company? Like, what they want to make sure, okay, you're the person that owns this business. You're the person that makes decisions. You're the person, that understands what's going on in the business, and that'll help them understand, okay, this is the actual person that manages this store. All right, they're going to ask you if you have any virtual assistants. This will come down into in a second, the user permissions. Like, if you have any user permissions and virtual assistants, just make note of what do the virtual assistants do, how many virtual assistants you have, what their basically responsibilities are, who does the sourcing, who places the order, all that stuff. I'm sure they'll ask you questions based on what their role is. So just have some answers prepared based on what you tell the person interviewing about your virtual assistant. If you don't have any virtual assistants, you say, I don't have any virtual assistants. I'm the one doing the sourcing. I'm the one managing the store. I'm doing all that stuff, okay? So next, user permissions and company information. So how many user permissions did you create? This is something most people probably don't even think about checking before doing this call. If it's just you, you can just say just you. If you don't know how to get to your user permissions, just go to the settings in your Seller Central account and then go to user permissions. It should be right there, and you can see how many user accounts have access to your store. All right. Now, next you can say, please tell the company associated with this Amazon selling account. So that's going to be, what is the business, if your account's either going to be a individual or a business. If you are a business, you're going to just mention that. If you're an individual seller and you don't have a business, just say I'm an individual, I don't have a business. Okay. But if you have an LLC or corporate, you just say that name. And then who is the legal representative of this company? If that's you, you just say you are the legal representative. Whoever basically technically has over 50% of a company, or you could just say you. There, I mean, they can only do so much to figure it out. All right, so next, the marketplace and store information. Can you please tell me what marketplace did you activate? So this is going to be, are you selling in the US? Are you selling in some outside market like the in Europe, or like some other Amazon marketplace, okay? So if you're just selling in the US, just say the US. If you're selling in some other multiple, you say whatever ones, okay? Do you have other Amazon seller accounts? Most of you most likely will say no, you don't have any other accounts. If you do, it should be ones that you have gotten approved from Amazon ahead of time for doing a different business model, right? None of the information should match up. It's more so like it's just basically they want to make sure that you're not doing something sketchy and selling on multiple accounts without their permission, right? So just answer that. Most of the times, just say no unless you have actual proof that Amazon allowed you to have, like you had requested proof from Amazon to have another account for a different purpose. Next, can you tell me the email address for the Amazon seller account? So that should usually be the email address that you use when you create the account, when you log into your actual Amazon seller account. So you would just use that information. You should have your storefront name. So that's just going to go what your Amazon store name is. If anyone was trying to navigate to your store, you can find this on the Seller Central. Just go to settings, then account info, then business info, and then display name. And then the phone number on file. This is usually the phone number that was used to create the account. You can also find it in your settings as well if you think you changed your number or whatever. It's whatever phone number usually gets that the authorization number sent to it when you're trying to log in. All right, next is the payment information. So here they're just going to be like, please tell me the last 3 digits of the deposit account and the account holder. So this is the bank account on file that receives deposit from Amazon. So just have that the last 3 digits of that account ready to go, as well as who the account holder is. So that's most likely you if you're watching this, or you can, ideally it's you say if that's doing it, unless if you're the operator trying to do this, just say whoever is with you, right? You really ideally want to have the owner of the account ready doing this interview. Then please tell me the last 4 digits of the charge method, which is the card used to pay Amazon fees. So when it comes to Amazon, you need either a credit card or they might let debit cards be on file. However, you just go to your settings, account info, and then click your charge methods, and under the payment information, that'll tell you the card you have on file as well as just the last 4 digits right there. Just they want to make sure they can verify every little thing that you know a good bit about your store, and they're like, okay, because the thing is, most people they'll go into this interview and have none of this ready to go, and you're going to be like, how the hell am I supposed to know any of this information, and then it's just like, if you can have it all ready to go ahead of time, it's going to save you guys so much time and stress during this call. Can you please tell me the last 4 digits of the card you used to pay this supplier? So I would mention whatever credit card or debit card you use. And if you are using a virtual card, you can explain. I know some people use virtual cards to protect their number, like bank account number or their credit card number. And you could just mention that, hey, I use this virtual card. This is the number on the card. Here's the actual card number on file. So in case they, just explain it, right? Like, try to be as clear as possible. Ultimately, you're going to be uploading your bank information or your credit card statements, showing the order. They just are trying to get an idea, okay, like this person, they use the card, they're the ones that have access, they know what they're doing, right? That's the main stuff. All right, so the product under review. Please, sorry, Sorry, I was battling a cold, so back to it. Product under review. Please tell me what product is under review for this meeting. Have product name and ASIN as well as quantity in case. So obviously, like whatever product is in question, like obviously they just tell you like the ASIN number as well as the quantity. Have look up whatever product is the whatever ASIN that is, and have the product name so you can be like, this is the product. Here's the ASIN. Here's how many units need to be reviewed. What is the starting price of so whatever product? So for this question, it's like the a book in question. So you just know whatever price you're selling it for on Amazon. It's good to just have that. I mean, write this stuff down ahead of time, right? Most people will be like, I have no idea what I know it's like I'm selling on Amazon. I don't know what price, right? Just look it up. It should just be in your Seller Central when you go to your inventory and pricing. You should be able to see what price you have products listed for. Do you have any brand authorization letter for this product under review? If you have this, it's helpful. If not, just say no. How are you sure the products from the supplier are authentic products? So ideally you're buying either from an authorized supplier, the brand themselves, website direct, you have an invoice, whatever reason, just make sure it's a good enough reasoning. And if you're buying from some Telegram group or some non-legitimate business, at that rate, just pray, right? Hopefully you guys are all buying products legitimately and you can just basically be like, hey, I have supply chain documentation showing it I'm ultimately getting this product ultimately from the main company, right? That's the main thing, is they just want to see, okay, like this person isn't doing any deceptive or illegal activities. They're good to go, right? And that's why, again, I do not recommend you ever, if you're seeing this, you're thinking, oh, I'm currently buying from Telegram groups or WhatsApp groups only, and they're not like actual businesses. Like I have a whole nother video on basically finding actual legitimate suppliers. Go watch that. All right. Now, virtual assistants, where are your virtual assistants located? So if you have virtual assistants, if you don't have virtual assistants, you don't need to worry about virtual assistants. But if you do have virtual assistants, where are they located? Where are they working? How did you find these virtual assistants? So like, did you use a website? Was it Fiverr? Was it Online Jobs, PH? Was it Upwork? Do you have any contact information with them? If have you paid the workers? How are you paying them? So if you're paying them, maybe you're using like Wise, or you're using some Remitly or some other alternative website to show payment. Just have that stuff in case. They didn't ask for anything for submitting this, because I mean at this we just said they weren't paid at the time or whatever for this account. And so shipping and logistics. So how do you deliver the product to your customers? So they basically want to know, are you doing FBM, fulfilled by merchant? Are you shipping the product yourself to the individual? That's what that means. Or are you doing Amazon FBA and you're having Amazon ship and distribute the products to people? You're just shipping the products to Amazon, they receive it, and whoever gets it at that places an order and they receive the product. So just mention how you're doing it, and then so is the supplier shipping the products to you first? They're just trying to get some clarity about like, okay, like could something be going on in the shipping department? Like how is it working? Are you buying directly from this supplier? They're shipping it to you first, and then are you shipping it, or are you shipping it to a prep center? Just explain. Be like, yeah, the products are getting sent to me directly, then I'm shipping the products to either the customer or directly to Amazon. Or I get the products, I place the order with our supplier, it gets sent to a prep center. The prep center packages the product up and then ships it to Amazon. All right, just so they have a clear understanding of how the products are, where they're going from once you place that order. And then from which city did you ship this product to the Amazon warehouse? So was it where you're located? Was it at a prep center address? Just know, like, based on when you place those orders, where did they go before they got sent to Amazon? So next, how were they shipped? Were they shipped by air or by ground to Amazon's warehouse? So most cases you should be saying ground. unless you're doing, if you're doing air, maybe it's because you're selling products by yourself, or you're sourcing them outside, you're selling your own product and they're outside the US or something, whatever it may be. Most cases, you're probably just going to say ground if you're dealing with supply, like products already in the US. Most cases, you're just going to say ground. Who is the logistics provider? So this is going to be how you ship your products to Amazon. So whether that be ground, yes, FedEx, the US Postal Service, are you shipping by whole truckloads, freight, whatever those companies may be, you could mention that. And then the next gets into the sales and orders. So here it says, how many orders did you have so far? I'm not sure exactly if they meant regarding how many orders you placed with the supplier or how many sales you had. I would get that information for both. That way you just have it in case, because I wasn't able to really get a clarifying answer from the person at the time. So obviously, if the thing is, like, this interview is for like one unit, so it's like we were only showing one unit for the sale. However, if you have multiple orders, just say I've placed this amount of orders so far. I've sold this amount on Amazon of this product. Usually it's going to be like whatever, like you might have sold over the amount of sales that they're actually requesting for. So they ideally want to just know that you've basically bought more than you sold, essentially. Supplier info. Can you please tell me who is the supplier for this product under review? So where you bought it, mention the website, mention their business name, mention their business address. That should all be information you find on if you have an invoice or if you have any sort of documentation saying like shipping documents. It should all be there. And then how did you find the supplier, whether that be Google, trade show, whatever it may be, right? You can just mention, most of the time you just be like Google search. And so that wraps up the part for the actual call, right? So I know it's a lot. If you also want this document, just join that free community again in the description, and I can give you guys access to this so you guys can just like look it, make a copy if you want, and plug in your information. All right, so the next thing is the post interview. So you've gone through, you did the stressful part, you've gone through with that interview, you're like, okay, I submitted it. Now you're just basically going to have to upload some documentation. All right, so the post verification call, required documents. After your verification call, Amazon typically requests additional supporting documentation related to the ASIN in question, or ASINs if it's more than one. Bank statement for the charge method, or credit card statement. This is basically just showing that, hey, like this is the statement with your business information or your name, the business address or residential address, whatever is on file, as well as obviously the information for the card that they were questioning, whether that be the bank card or the card on file. That way Amazon can just see, okay, this is who placed the order, the information matches up. Good to go. They placed the order, right? Payment records for supplier, bank statement or transaction proof. Anything related to the specific order, you want to basically just be showing, hey, like we actually placed this order. Here's the payment. Here's the transaction, order confirmation, all that stuff. That can also go into supply chain documents. Just make sure whatever you're doing, that you are submitting any invoices, receipts. Basically, it all should add up to at least over whatever quantity is in question by Amazon. If you're not able to show the full quantity, they can be like, okay, something's going on here, and they're trying to just make sure that all that information matches up, as well as just it has as much supplier information. If you don't have the necessary supplier information, like an invoice, it depends on obviously how you're sourcing the product. If you're doing like online arbitrage, you can try to receive an invoice from the brand. Just be like, hey, I need an invoice for this product for whatever orders you place, right? If you only have one order, okay, you just say the one order. If you place multiple, ask for the multiple orders. Most companies will be able to help you out and give you that information. If not, I mean, show that you at least tried to, like, maybe you tried to get whatever documentation. I mean, the more documents that you can ultimately show, saying, okay, here's all the information from we placed the order to we received the order to it ultimately getting shipped off to Amazon, right? Like all that information, super useful. Like any proof of delivery, the BOL, bill of lading, just if you have that, that obviously comes down if you're more likely buying in bulk and getting like actual like usually pallets or whatever. Let's see, anything else? You have a brand authorization letter that can be super useful. Obviously, most of the time you probably don't have that, but if you do have it, obviously it can be helpful. As well as order level documentation. So that just comes down to like order confirmation, shipping, all this stuff you should basically just be putting together. Like just here, the thing is you're just sending this to an email, so it doesn't, you don't have to really compress the documents. You can just put it all together and like label just whatever. I would rename also, that's one thing, is rename what it is. So like if it's the order confirmation, just be like whatever ASIN it is, put that ASIN order confirmation, stuff like that. Just make it like rename the document so it's easy as possible for when you're uploading and they're just able to do the verification that it's like, okay, this makes sense. And also, by the way, make sure this is super important. They require all documents to be authentic, unaltered, and clearly legible, as well as they must be in the following formats: PDF, JPEG, PNG, or GIF format only. It is strongly advised to combine related documents. However, that was more so, I think, for the before verification call, since when you're sending an email, they didn't, like, you're just sending an email, so it didn't really matter what amount of files, like they didn't say. All right, for this document, they're just going to ask you for the bank statement, payment records to the supplier, supply chain documents, proof of delivery, authorization letters, order confirmation, all that stuff. So here, as well as it's going to say email inbound at /amazon@appeals.com. So here is an email that we just had drafted up, just basically just saying, honestly, what I would just do is go like copy the email they send, and just be like, hey, here's the documents, go plug that into like ChatGPT, or if you want this version, just let me know and I can help with that. Just go to basically this is what it's saying, just dear Amazon performance team, thank you for your message. Please find below attached the required documentation for the ASINs in question. Our business, whatever your business name is, purchase the products, or change whatever date it is, provide the supporting documents. We just did also had to clarify something. As for the bank statement, for the charge, you want to make sure you have the bank statement. I would put the business name, business address, issuing bank, payments date, the amount, the supplier information, payment records for the supplier, any information, product description, quantity in question, supplier name, supplier phone number, supplier address, all this information, proof of delivery, tracking numbers, shipping address, order confirmation, fulfillment updates, include that information. If you have an authorization letter, you can put that as well, and just saying attached files, bank statement. Obviously, as I said, rename the documents to whatever. All documents are authentic, unaltered, and in PDF format, and just whatever, put your name, company name, email, and you can go submit that. Make sure you attach your files, because that's super important. And then when you submit everything, it's just usually going to take a few days to hear a response. And also, if you do have issues, if you like say your appeal you send in and it doesn't work, just join my free group in the description, and I can give you access to the two executive team member emails where you can be like, hey, assuming you have all the documentation, you tried doing everything right, and if you want to try to get another verification call, just you can send another to the executive team's emails, as well as if you want to see an actual call with like with a rep. I can't obviously show their face or whatever. I can just show. I have a whole the whole video basically on how they asked it and stuff like that. If you want the access to that, just join that free group. and just ask me for it, and I could share that over privately. So I do hope overall this is basically what goes on before the call, during the call, and after the call. And I believe if you really have all this stuff ahead of time, it's going to really increase your chances of getting your account reinstated. And that's ultimately what the goal is, right? It's shitty feeling having to go through a Section 3 fee activation. However, you can get through it. Just if you're well prepared versus going in blind, you're going to have a way better chance of getting your account reinstated and ultimately keeping that source of income from Amazon. So I do hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did get some value out of it, again, I'd really appreciate a like. If you want more content, subscribe. I really appreciate it. Let me know any questions you have in the comments. And again, that free community in the description. If you want access to any of this information that I shared here, you guys can get that. Again, I want to help you guys ideally keep selling, and I do hope you guys got some value, and I will be posting more content for you guys, and I'll see you in the next video.